What's going on, everybody? It's Paul. We are in front of the saltwater tank today. We're gonna buy some corals off the dark web. Let's do it. All right, you guys, it is time to open up the box of the corals that I got off of eBay, off the dark web. Let's do this. Heat packed, nice and warm. We love that. So we got 4 corals, and we'll go over the names in a little bit. But here's the first one. Here's the next one. This guy. And this one. So far they're looking great. We need to get them into the tank to float and temp acclimate. Got the 4 corals here. So we're gonna go ahead and put them in the tank so that they start to acclimate to the temperature. And we're going to shut the lights off. So the corals had a little over a half an hour to get used to the water temperature. So let's go ahead and we're gonna pull these 2 out. I use my tweezers. This one and this one. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna go and get all 4 corals inside of this container.
All right, guys, so let's go ahead and speed this video up while we open up the bags. Something that I noticed that is very different from coral versus fish is they ship it without air. So there is a good amount of water and it does spill, so be careful.
So there's our frags. Now what I'm gonna do is what I did last time. So the 32 ounce mark is 1/4 of a gallon. So we're gonna slowly fill this up with some of the tank water till it gets to that point to just help them acclimate a little bit more. And then we're going to add the solution. Tank water from the coral tank. Gonna go ahead and add a little bit in there. Now again, what we're gonna do is get that filled up to that mark and we'll be back. Check this out right here. I did not dip these yet. This is just getting the water right. And I mean, you can see a bunch of little deals there. And I saw a little tiny red worm and what looked to be like a starfish type thing. Very transparent. But this was pre-dipping. What I'm gonna do actually is strain the water so that we got fresh, clean water. And then we're gonna do the dip solution and see how much falls off of these things. So what I'm gonna do to strain this actually is I'm gonna use some filter floss that I use in my canister filters. And pour. Look at that. That was just from shipping. This is why you dip and why you quarantine. You can see our water's nice and clean now. So actually the next step is I wanna break the plugs off of the actual structure of the coral.
So I would say the biggest reason why I pull the plugs off is because you never know what might be hiding inside those plugs. If there's any spot that could harbor any eggs and things like that. So that's why we pull them off.
Okay, so there's all of our old plugs. Here are the corals. Last little bit of the water. Now we're using our Coral Dip Revive here. And again, mix 4 capfuls for every gallon, with this being 1/4 gallon. 1 capful, give it a little shake. There's that. I'm just gonna do a smidge more, just because it wasn't quite to the top. So now that that's in there, we want this to mix up a smidge. So I'm gonna actually just pull these out real quick, and then we'll mix this up. Now one thing you could do is with these guys soaking in here, you could come in every once in a while, and just give them a shake. You can also use a turkey baster. So I'm hoping you guys can see, look at how much junk is coming off the coral already. You could see that little red worm thing right in the middle, just went between those 2 plugs. That's some kind of worm. Now again, if you don't dip and don't quarantine, how are you gonna catch that? That's the biggest thing. What I want to do is start scrubbing these skeletons a little bit before the time runs out.
So the reason why I like to scrub them is because you never know what you might be scrubbing off because there are lots and lots of hitchhikers that come on coral. I've seen other people do it and I feel it's a good practice. That's why I like to do it. It is more work and takes more time, but it is well worth it.
It's been 15 minutes, so we're gonna go grab them, give them a nice little shake.
So giving them a nice shake in the solution is going to help dislodge any pests that may have died from the solution or may have been affected by the solution. And it's pretty shocking how much stuff could come off.
There you go. Gonna let them sit in here for a smidge. Now look at all of this disgustingness. You can see the worms in here. I'm gonna point it out on the bottom. So that red thing is a worm. That is some kind of star looking pest. Just a whole bunch of gunk in here. Now they do secrete, so some of that secretion in there, but there's definitely bugs in here from doing the dip. What I decided to do was another bath with double dose just to see what happens. We're gonna use a turkey baster to go over the polyps of the coral, so over the flesh. Yup, already made a difference.
So like I mentioned, I wanted to do the second dip because I wanted to try to remove more pests. And I've also seen people do multiple dips, like with Bear and with a solution like Revive. So I felt like it would be good to do so, and you'll see why next.
So if you look inside here, you can definitely see more debris and stuff in there. That is all extra that came off from doing that second dip.
All right, so we're gonna get these guys glued on now. What I did was I wanted to hit them one more time with some fresh water to make sure we got as much of the pests off as possible, and just getting it glued on and holding it in place for a while and all that other good stuff. All right, so we're gonna go ahead now and get the other corals onto the plugs. We're using super glue gel, which I've seen used by other people in the hobby, and getting these guys glued onto the plugs. And you're going to want to make sure that they're on there nice and good. All right, now the fun part, getting the corals on the new plugs into the coral quarantine tank and getting them placed onto the frag rack. Definitely fun and awesome to see them going into the tank. Definitely makes all the work rewarding, and I am just loving it. Loving it. So that's 5 total A cans, and then we got the 1 Blasto that I'm moving right now. All right, so from left to right, we have the Toxic A can, we have the Party A can, we have the Watermelon A can, and we have the Sunrise A can. We're gonna give a little bit of food here to help trigger a feeding response by these and get some up close footage. Here we go, getting some of the brine shrimp onto the coral, and we're gonna watch it consume it. Look at this. This is absolutely stunning. It's crazy to think that coral are an animal. I mean, they're actually an animal. It's so neat. Doing the same now with the Party A can. Just getting a little bit of brine shrimp on them. Now, I've seen and heard that they can eat more than you think. I was watching a video from Tidal Gardens, and that is what they mentioned. So I wasn't afraid to add a good amount of the brine shrimp. Now giving some to the Watermelon A can. It's cool, you can see the feeding response with the fingers coming out to grab the food and then bringing it down into the mouth. Very cool. And then last, we got the Sunrise A can. This one is still the most stressed out of all 4. It's gonna just take some time to get these guys comfortable to fully display. And I know that lighting and flow is one thing. It takes a little bit of time, and good to start off with low lighting and low flow, and then slowly increase from the research that I've seen. So now on this one was another feeding where I got all 4 in the picture, and you can see them devouring the brine shrimp.
So what you guys think of the acans that we got? I definitely am excited about them. I'm hoping that they're going to settle in soon. And my goal is to have an acan garden versus a zoa garden because I like acans better. They are more expensive, but it's okay. We're going to build it slowly. That's what this hobby is all about, building it slowly. So again, if you guys are fans of fish videos, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also, if you could comment down below, like, share, all that good stuff. And again, excuse the voice. Sounds like I got laryngitis. I've had it for almost a month. This is pretty crazy. Also, another thing, you can see the tank right here. I'm going to be rescaping it because I don't really have any room here to do a garden. And once I get a decent amount of corals done in quarantine, then I'm going to rescape it and place them accordingly. I think that's going to be a good tactic to do. What do you guys think? Hope to see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Stay tanked.